Okay, so this is the database that we would like to work on. With all these, I just designed it. I did not push it through the database server for now. Let's just give it a name, so when we forward engineer, it is going to be okay. Even canceling is going to take a while. All right, so let's give it a name. Let's name it grades. This is the database name, and let's save. So what we would like to do is just to create some triggers, basically on after insert or delete or update on this grade, right? So let's do that. Just double click, and then the mouse cursor is disappearing, so it's not going to be helping. But this is the trigger. I just would like to find, sorry, not the triggers, the so that's something. How to just see the mouse, because of, I'm guessing, this software recording is but every time we resume this, okay, the cursor disappears. So what we would like to do, the easiest ones first, which is after insert or before delete, because this is when we need to do something some calculations based on the average. So this is what we're going to be focusing on. If I enter any record here or delete any record, also later on we're going to be, if I update also a record, I just would like to update the average for that student. And actually we can put a lot of different things. If we would like to have the average for the student, put another average for the course, whatever, but you got the point. Whatever we do it for the student, we can do the same principle to apply to anything. We can also have like an average for the assessment to get the average of all those that have the assessment. So this can be calculated, or, well, for the sake of the triggers, let's just take, of the simplicity, just take one, and then we can just, of course, extend it to anything. Now I would like just to update this average whenever we have a new grade. So we need to create a trigger with this before insert or after insert. Well, it makes more sense to have after, because we will need to have the data inserted, then we can do the calculation. So let's create that. So I'm just double clicking, and I just need to click the plus sign actually, yeah. And now I have this course after update. Actually this it's already given me like a name after insert, which means I'm not because I'm not at the right place. I'm selecting course, and that's why now it gives me course after insert, which is the good thing to come up with the naming convention of your triggers, so you can just easily know them. For example, by default it just suggested to me the name of the table, underscore, and then the event or the timing and the event that needs to be watched out. So I don't need to have this one, so let me just delete this one with clicking on the minus, and I'm going to grade report, and in the grade report I just like to create this after insert. I'm still there because I'm still in the course table. So let's just double click, so now I can see this is the grade report table, and after insert, now inshallah it should be okay. So it creates this trigger called grade report after insert. After insert on grade report, for each row, let's begin and then let's put the code here. What do we would like to do once we have this insertion? Would like to get the average, save it somewhere. Actually, I showed you a code last time that does something which is using a session variable. Remember this at? Well, that session variable means it can be even accessed. This variable can be even accessed outside of the trigger, because it's about the session, not only about the scope of it is not only the trigger itself. I'd like to show you just how to declare like local variables. We don't need to have like session variables all the time. So local variables are enough. I just would like to declare this within this trigger, and then stop. It will stop being declared once the trigger is done. So how to do that? Just declare, give it a name, and data type. For us, let's make it double. You want to make a default value, you can put a default value. Default 0. This is how you put a default value inside of it. You would like to put something inside of that, no problem. You just put set. Well, I just use the, I don't know why, it can just also be lowercase. It doesn't have to be capital letter. Let's make it double and default. That means I'm putting 0 inside of it for the first time, and then if I would like to put something, I just put average equal whatever later on. The first time I can use default, but later on I'd like to put something inside of it, you just use it like that. If I'd like to get something out of it, you just use it as the variable, normal variable names that we know. So now that I got this, I need to do something to calculate the average for that user, the average of all the grades for that user. What should I do? I'm going to be selecting, well, let's use of the aggregation function, avg of grade from grade report I need to put a condition, because or else it's going to be the average of all the students of all courses in all assessments. And I just would like to put a condition that I'd like it to be for only a specific student. We'd like the average for a student. So I need to put where ID student. Actually, it's student ID there. I forgot. Let's just change this to be as I showed you. I just didn't. In the question, it was showing ID and then student. Okay, so I'm just going to be following the same pattern. ID course and ID assessment. Why I'm saying this, because this is what I said. I mean, this is ID student, ID course, and ID assessment. Fine. And so now let's go back to our trigger. If we can see them. Okay. So where ID student is equal to new.id student. So the new keyword is just used to give me the value that was just inserted. Is that enough? Actually, I need to do something. When I get that value, I need to save it into this average, this variable that is just declared. So I'm selecting this average, I'm calculating it, I'm saving it inside of this variable called average, and this average is about a specific student that was just inserted. His ID was just inserted. Now that I have that, what should I do? Just update the table student, set. But now I have a problem, because I have average. So let's just make sure that we don't have any confusion. I'm just going to name this. Okay, let's v average. So we don't have this confusion now. Set average equal, and I need to put a condition, because if I don't put any condition, this is going to be applicable to all the students. But I just would like to have where ID or ID student. ID because I'm looking at I'm taking the table students, and I need to put the fields that are in student. ID equal new ID. New, exactly, new ID student, because I don't have new ID. Is that it? Fine. Do I need to do something else? Well, I'm not caring about this one, because actually this is going to be prepared for me when I'm going to be doing this forward engineering. When I'm going to be doing the forward engineering, well, I would like to send the database to the this to the database server. It will generate that for me. So let's just go and say forward engineer, just to have an idea about how it will look like. Let's hit the next button, and then hit the next. You can see that also there are triggers, and there are 4 objects, 4 tables, and 1 object of triggers. And then if I go down somewhere, it's going to see that it adds this for me, delimiter, and then put the whole code, and then put back the delimiter again. So that's the advantage of using this. When you design your database, generally just work on this workbench, which will make your life easier. If you don't, you have to come up with your delimiter, inside of the SQL statements within the within this. I'm thinking, because actually in the assignment I would like you to do something like this. So I will require you to just prepare something like this, which will make it easier for you. Just you go and then you create the triggers, and then in the MySQL Workbench. So it just at the end you just give me the file like this MWB, the MySQL Workbench, and then that contains all your database plus your triggers. So I just I'll have it there, inshallah. Sorry? Can we test this? Okay. You want to? But let's just, first of all, if we'd like to test it, let's just put some values inside of it, right? So let's go back here and put some inserts, so we can, when I'm going to be forward engineering, it's just going to be creating the database, creating the table, putting the values, creating the trigger. So I'll just need to test it. Then we have already populated database, so we can test with it. So let's put some values, for example, here, like 1 Muhammad, and then the average should be 0, for example. I should just in the columns put as default value, it should be something default expression. Let's put 0. So if I don't put anything, it's going to put 0 for me. So let's go back here to inserts, and then let's continue. Student number 2, and then even if I don't put anything, it is going to be putting 0 for me, just to show it this default working. So let's have a course save changes, of course. So and if I go save changes, it doesn't mean that it exists on the database. I'm just still, nothing is on the database because I did not forward engineer. So it's still in my file here, and when I'm going to be forward engineering, then these structures of the tables plus the data is going to be added as well. Just to show you, if I go to forward engineer again, and I'm going to see that actually there are going to be, besides this, at the end there are going to be some inserts, or maybe just next to the table. Or maybe I have to select something. Generate insert statements for the tables. So I need to check this one, because if I don't, I'm not going to be seeing anything going to the database. Now because I did, I'm going to see that these are the ones that were added. And this is going to generate a problem, because as you can see, this is like a comma and then nothing. I don't know why this is normally. Yeah, actually, because actually I just left it like that. I should put 0, because I know that if I don't put 0, it's going to be raising some error statements in that. If I'd like to, I should have left it as null. So let me just apply the change. So now go back to the course and do the same. Course ID number 1, title cs310, for example, and then can I just have another one, just cs310? Okay, whatever. And same thing again, save changes. Let's go to the assessments. So quiz 1, max grade. We said for now we just put everything as 100 just to make our life easy, but we can just put something more, for example, if we'd like to. But now we assume that this is just 100, which is the maximum all the time. But we can later on put something different, which will make our calculations of the average a little bit different, because we need to have the average based on the grade and the maximum grade. So I don't want to add, initially I wanted to add this max grade, and then I realized it might be a little bit too complicated for your first exercise on triggers. So I just left it out and assumed that all the max grades for all assessments are going to be 100. But actually it can be fun if you would like to play with it. But you don't want to have a lot of fun, I know. You might prefer have other type of fun. Okay, so let's just do something. We're done with this one. Let's just save. Maybe. Sorry? 3 and 4. What do you mean 3 and 4? ID 3 and 4. What is your question? I don't get it. Why did you put 3 and 4? Oh, okay, but this is table assessment. So I'm just creating all the list of assessment that exists. So I have these are the assessments. So the first one, ID 1, is the quiz 1, for example. ID number 2 is the midterm, and then the number 3 is the quiz. These are not students. The relationship of the students are going to be in the grade report. I'm not there yet. I just put some students, 2 students, and then 2 courses and 4 assessments. Now I'm going to be putting this relationship between all these courses and students and assessment. So actually this is not, I'm not going to be putting anything here because I would like to put something and see it running. So I'm just going to leave this to the script. So I'm going to be inserting from the script, and then I'm going to see what is the result of that. Because if I'm just putting a lot of data, the trigger is going to run, but I'm not going to be able to maybe see it working. I just would like to be able to see it working before the insertion and then after the insertion, to see the difference between the execution of the trigger and not. So let's just try to run this. Now I'm going to database forward engineer. Let's just try to do that. And because I'm going to be going forward and backward, I mean generating and then going back and create another trigger, what I'm going to be doing is that I am going to be doing something like drop each object before each create. Or I can just generate the drop schema, which means it will delete the old database if it was there, and then create a new one based on this new forward engineering that I'm doing. So this is generally if you just would like to keep, just delete some and keep some. But in our case, we don't care. We can delete the whole schema. So or you can keep them both, whatever. But this is what it means. If you just keep this one, that means it will generate drop table if it exists, and then create the table. And if you create this one, if you remove this one, then you have this one. It will just drop the schema, and then create the schema with all the new objects inside of it. So that's enough for us. And I said that we need to have the inserts, so I just give them. And then let's see what it looks like. So now you see it says job schema if exists, and then it's going to be creating the schema with this names, and then create the tables, and then the data is following up. So these are the the data. Notice that there's a start transaction commit. Just a small word about this. A transaction is a set of instructions that if one of them fails, the whole set of instructions is going to fail. The advantage of this one, I'm not sure what is it like there, but what this is going to do, For example, if there's one mistake in, let's show you. This is a mistake. Basically, there's no table called assessment. So if this is part, this instruction, the last one, is part of a transaction, means none of these three before insertions will also be in the table, because we said this is a transaction, and commit means if we were able to execute everything without having any error message and we reach commit, means now it's time to save all in the database. If we don't reach commit and then we had like these three inserts, for example, we're not going to be seeing them in the database because they're not going to be saved. So this is like a transaction. We want everything to be executed at the same time or none of them. By the same time, I mean without mistakes. All of them executed without any error messages, or if one of them has some error message or something, or there's a mistake or any problem that might arise, then we don't want any of the others also to be in the database. So you remember the discussion about like cash withdrawal, ATM machines, when we would like things to happen? Well, this is how to implement that. Start transaction, put your code, and then commit. If you reach the commit, that means everything is fine, everything is saved. If you did not reach the commit, there's an auto rollback, something that's called rollback, which is going to be not saving these inserts inside of the database. So this is a quick reference to about this transaction. Yeah. No, if there's an error, it will not commit at all. Yeah, it will still continue, start another transaction, yeah. There's another transaction, okay, do that. Yeah. And then we have the declaration of our trigger. So let's try now. And we have a problem. I did not, correct it. So let's just go back and correct it. And let's just do it again. Now everything is okay. Notice that we dropped the whole schema and then we inserted it again. So that wasn't a problem. So now let's play with that. And so let's see. You use grades because this is how we named it, right? So now we're using the grades, and let's select star from students. Was it student or students? I don't remember. So let's just refresh. I have grades, and let's click on the tables. If I see the cursor somewhere, yes, it's almost there. Okay, so it's student, and then I'm going to be doing the same. Just to see all the tables. So we have course, assessment, and then grade report. So let's just run everything first and see what is the results of having everything empty. So you can see now we have the data, but the grade report is empty. Fine, let's just now insert into grade report values. Actually, there are two versions of this insert. I can put the columns names, or if I'm respecting the names that are, the order of inside of the table, I don't have to put the names. But if I'd like to would like to scramble the order, I can do that. But it's I have to then mention what's the first column, what's the second, and so on. But if I'm respecting the order that is inside of the table, so I don't have to do something like that. Okay, so let's put like 1, 1, 1, and then the grade is 70. So now if I run this, it ran correctly without any mistake. That means also if there was any mistake in the trigger, it will also tell me when I'm running this query that there was a mistake. But alhamdulillah, since nothing was mentioned, that means there is no problem. Let's just now run again and all our queries. if I'm able to. Okay. So now we can see this grade report has something, but let's look at the student because this is where it's getting interesting. Well, the average was updated to 70. Fine. Up to now, nothing really. Yes, something? No, you're not. For? This one? No, this is not for creating the table. This is just to extract the information that is in the table, because we created the table when we forward engineered. When we used forward engineer, this is where the code of this table was generated. Like when I did this Control G and hit next, I was assuming that it's next. So you can see here, this is where the create the table is. So this is the code where I created the tables and everything. So this is where the tables were created. So when I did this next, now in this stage, I'm not creating the tables, I'm just inserting the values inside of this grade report, but just with this one, just extract what's inside of the tables. Show me the tables.
Show me the insertion with different assessments.
Sorry?
The same
Yes, this is what we're going to be doing. So now we inserted this first one. We're going to be inserting another one, but I just would like to get your questions, yes, and comments.
No, I understand.
No comments?
No.
Please. No, small comment. Okay. Tamir is enjoying the show. I'm making sure that I'm recording this. And just so you can remember, the day when I was, Okay, so now we would like to have the same student. This is, first of all, we said the course, the first column is about the student. So we keep the same student, we keep the same course, and let's give it another, like in the midterm, let's give it another value. What is the value? Let's put a value that we know the average of it. 90, for example. What is the average between 90 and 70? It's 80. Okay, so let's run this. Okay, again, alhamdulillah, without any problems. It just, okay, we just read the grade. No, we don't want the grade report. The student. Now we get that the student is 80. And alhamdulillah, it seems to be working. Do we need to keep adding?
No.
So let's go back and continue with the rest.
So if you add first time, you can delete it?
When you add first time, you can delete it. What do you mean?
Because you put it 70 first time.
Okay.
Then you just delete and write like it.
What I deleted is the insert statement. I did not delete the value, because if I'm looking at the grade report, I'm sure I'm going to find like there are two entries. So you see, there's this is the first one that was inserted before, and this is the second one that was inserted before. I just deleted the code that was used to insert the data, but the data is still there. I did not delete them.
So just when you run it, it will set that.
Yeah, once it's run, there's no problems. It's the data is saved. I don't need to keep the code that inserted the data. I don't need to keep it. Okay? Anything? Comments, anyone? Okay, let's continue then. Now let's go back to this and go back to our triggers, because we would like to be doing the same thing before insert or after insert. Well, let's keep the update at the end, because the update, well, in this case, maybe the update and is not really difficult, but it's going to be the same code, right? Exactly the same code. What is also the delete? Let's just, okay. What about the delete? Before delete or after delete first? Before we delete? After we delete, because after we delete, the data is going to be gone, so we can just.
It's going to be also the same code.
It's exactly the same code, actually, in this case. Because we need to declare a variable, average, get the average of that student, and then update it with these new things, yes. Exactly. The only thing that we're going to be doing is just changing from new to old. So let's just do it this way. There's a better way, maybe that we're going to be seeing later on. And This is a good way how to start actually seeing. First of all I need to do, instead of new, now new doesn't exist with delete. There's only old. Okay.
You mean by the old value or what?
Because what did I mean with the new?
New column.
No, not the new column. The new value inside that column. Now, because when I delete, there's nothing new that was added. So there was only just the old value that was there. So that's why we use old with delete, because there was no new thing that was inserted. All right, and the same thing. So we need to change this to old. Normally it should be blue, but I don't know why it's not blue. But is it a problem that it's not blue? Don't think so. Let's just do the forward engineer again, and then okay, fine. So let's go back here, and remember we had this problem. I mean, actually I should have kept the other one, because now the database is empty. I just would like to show it to you. Let's just try this, and then let me run everything. Now I'm going to see again, it's not empty. This is not what I meant, but this grade report is empty because we deleted everything and started again. Now if I'd like to insert and to get back to where we were, let's just run everything. I'm going to insert 70 and then 90, so which now the student average should be, I need to refresh. No, I need to refresh. Oh, this is a nice problem. I think I inserted this and still I'm not able to see anything. Let's just do something. Actually, what I should have done, let's put the insert before. So now they are already created, but normally the refresh should have refreshed. Let's just run everything again and see. Now I have this 70 and 90. If I go to the student, I should be seeing this is the 80. I don't know why there was like a scare, but now let's do something else. Let's just delete from grade report. Where what? Well, we don't have a lot of data, so we just have one thing. Let's just delete the 90 that I just added. So we know that the 90 is going to be uniquely identified by ID of assessment is equal to 2. What happens if I run this instruction? I'm going to be deleting this record, right? So the average of the student should be back to 70. Let's just see if this is going to be working. Run. Now we have only one line inside of this grade report. Let's go back to the student, and it's back to 70. So it's working, alhamdulillah, fine. The last thing to do now is, so let's just save this and then go back to no, here, this diagram. The update, is it after or before? Well, after, because data is there. What should we do? Again, same thing? With the old or with the new? Because the old, there was like the old value. We don't want to. Well, the old value of what?
Maybe after update after delete and update after new.
Okay, now I understand something. That actually I remember something, that we need to do something interesting before we do that. Okay, let's just first of all let's pick the problem. Let me show you the problem, and inshallah, alhamdulillah, we have some time. What do you want to pick? We said we copy one of them, right? Which one you want to copy? From the insert or from, I'm talking,
Insert.
I just would like to put something here.
Insert.
You said I'm going to be copying from one of the others. It's the same operation that needs to be done. Now, which one I'm asking which one you want me to copy from. Is it like from the delete or from the insert? Why?
You actually need both of it.
We need both.
We need both?
Two
Two triggers? Why?
To compare with the old and
Maybe if we update after we delete, we need old.
I mean, this update, this after update is going to be executed when things are updated. If there was delete, there's a trigger that deals with the deletion. So I don't talk about, I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about now when I update.
Because we have two values, old and new.
When I update, I have the old and new. Old what and new what?
Old student and the new. Maybe there is a new student. There is update for.
Okay, so when I update, don't think about updating only the grade. I can update a student also. Actually, this is where can be a problem. If I'm just taking this, for example, and copying it and pasting it here. Should I copy everything like this?
No, we are not creating a new.
We're not creating a new, so what happens, okay, in this code will be fine if we only update in a query, we only update the grades. But we don't touch the student. If we only update the grades, this code is enough. But what if, and we have no way to know, what if it's not the grade that is changed? What I mean here, what if someone, after inserting this query over here, he said, oh no, this was not the student number 1, it was student number 2. Then you're going to be having a problem. Because this, what it does, it just takes, okay, give me new student, this is the student number 2 now. First of all, let's just realize what is the problem, and I'm going to show you the problem. First of all, I'm not going to be deleting anymore, but just I would like to update grade report, set ID student equal to 2, where, well, if I do ID student 1, this is like I change all the ones for the 2s, where ID student is equal to 1 and ID course is equal to 1 and there's no comma, and ID assessment is equal to 2. So now what happens here is, for I'm putting the condition on this. Whatever I have, the student ID is 1, the course is 1, the assessment is 2. Now I would like to change this, not the grade, I didn't touch the grade, the grade is still 90. I just would like now to change, for this record, the ID student will be now 2 instead of 1. For which row? For this one, because this is the one that has 1, 1 and 2. 1, 1 and 2. Well, now it's there. Oh, okay, but I'm just, let's just run this so I can see it now. So this is what I have. I just would like to do this, to change this to 2. Even if I try to do it myself and I click on apply, look at what is going to be generated as the query. If I get the cursor to help me. Okay, almost. It's the same thing that we did. We'd like to change the ID student to be 2. For which record? For the record where the ID student is equal to 1 and the course is equal to 1 and the ID assessment is equal to 1. So the result of this query is going to be just changing let's cancel. It's going to be changing this from 1 to 2, from 1 to student number 2. But what should happen now to the table students? This was 80 because it was the average of 70 plus 90. It should be back to 70, and this new student who has 0 should be 90. So we have to do a lot of different things. So that's why we have to do two things actually. We have to do like a delete and an insert. And modify, generally this is what it happens. When they update in the triggers, you need to do the same thing that you did with the insert, but first you need to do the same thing also for the delete. It's like that you delete what was inserted and then you insert it again. So let's just see what is going to be the result of that. So the variable is going to be like the same. This is like, let's put it as a comment, so it will be inserting, and I'm going to be doing the same thing. Deleting. So the deletion first, generally, I don't need to declare twice. So I'll just declare it once and then use it. I'm going to be doing this first one with the old. Give me the old average and put it for the old student. Now calculate the average for the old one and then put it there, because it was student ID number 1. So I would like to calculate his average again and save it. And with the new student, I'm going to calculate his average and then save it for the new students. So I have to have the old one updated and the new one updated as well. So I need to keep them both. Clear for everyone? Generally, you need to do something like that for probably most cases. You need to always use the old one, and that is the old trigger, and then use the new one. Yes?
I need to use the old one for what?
To update if the old one was updated, because the old one for our case wasn't student number 1. It was, we need to update his average, so that's why we need to update the old student and also the new student.
Why don't we just leave it as it is and put a trigger on the ID student?
What do you mean ID student? What do you want to put a trigger on the ID student? Well, we put triggers on tables.
It will refer us.
We put triggers on tables. So that's the idea. But this case will catch up all the scenarios. What if, for example, we did not change the name of, the ID of the student. We just changed the grade. The old student ID and the new student ID is the same, right?
But the new student is a class, but all the
Sorry?
the new student is like a class.
No, it's like a value. A new ID student is a value. What if what I'm asking is what if these two are the same? Do we need to calculate these two twice? Well, we can put a condition just, what if, for example, I said if we change just the grade, if only the grade is different, then you can, but we don't care for now. I just would like to make sure that it works, and then we can improve it later. And there's a way to improve it that I'm going to show you as well. Let's just test this and make sure it works. Okay. That's not me. So it ran. Now let's just insert these and then make the update, okay? I'm going to run everything. So as you can see, first of all, it inserted the 1 and then it updated it. Where is this? What is happening?
You did not comment on the update.
Well, I'll intentionally left the update. But okay, well, I'm seeing 2 grade reports. That's why I was surprised. So this is the grade report, shows now student 1 and student 2. and the student is now, each one of them is having 70 and 90. They just, okay, let's do something. What about this? Now this is going to be deleting everything from the grade report. What should happen is that for each row it is going to be running the calculating the average of each of those. But what is the average actually? There's no grade, so it should be all of them should be 0. Please be 0. No, it kept 70 and 90. What is that? Sorry, I'm just, let's do this. I'd like just to see all the tables, and it seems like there's a problem. I don't know why, because you see there's two grade report. I did not ask to display twice the grade report, right? So there's something that I'm not happy with. I don't know what it is. I see even this grade report still shows me this, and I deleted from grade report without any condition. Normally it should be empty. There's no delete from. What am I saying? Delete from, and it worked. There was a mistake. Oh, there's the delete. That's why. Okay. There's something. Am I missing something? Is delete from? Okay, I got the blank now. I just forgot delete syntax. What I'm going to do, just going to go here, and there's this delete. There's not, that's not TDL. Let's just go to the DML, and I'm going to see the delete syntax, and just double click on it, and it shows me the syntax delete, and then from the table name. Okay, so that's where, and then if I put a condition, done. So that's why. Delete from grade report. And why does it say there was an error message? Okay, there was an error message here. Probably because actually there was the trigger generally I think that's what the trigger did. It just put 0, not this one. Just delete. Probably what happens, because when I'm trying to delete everything, it is showing that there's when I'm trying to delete, this is going to be returning null. I don't know. Let me try something. First of all, I'm not sure that there's. Okay, let's just restart from scratch, and then I'm going to forward engineer everything, close, go back here. Now let's insert one like how it was before and see it running. Even this delete, I don't want it here. Now I'm going to be inserting these two things and see the result in. But still, this is showing something that I don't like. It still shows like five displays, while I'm showing only 2, and I'm seeing only four selects, and I have 5 results. Which means sometimes I think it's time for this. And after insert, review changes, save. Grade report. So you see there was something. Cancel. Don't apply. Well, that's why it was kept. Okay, so I got it. I was doing something wrong actually, and I had to discard. That's why it's kept. It was saved for me. Okay, just Control G, and let's do it again. We now sent it to database. We have like a clean, empty database with just only the initial data that we inserted. And let's just go here. Oh, we lost all the inserts, but doesn't matter. Let's use grades. now we'd like to insert into grade report values 1 1 1, we said 70, and then let's put it 1 1 90, and then select star from, let's just look at student and grade report. Not equal, but star. Now let's run everything. I have, oh yes, I said 1 1 1 1. Normally it's not possible. Yeah. Now I can have this. So I have this grade report equal to this one is 80. Now we said let's just update grade report, set ID student is equal to 2, where ID student is equal to 1. I'm putting ID student, I'm changing something in when I put ID student in the where and in the one that is going to be changed. Is it okay? Well, obviously yes, because we can put and to 2. So this 2 1 1 2 is going to be, instead of 1 1 2 90, it should be like 2 1 2 90, and we can just change this to make it 1 if you want, but it doesn't matter. Now let's run this. So you can see that now it's 2, and each of those students have the correct amount of. So let's do it like a small case. Let's delete something. Let's delete from grade report where the ID student is equal to 2. What should happen now? If I delete this from here, the student's average should be back to 0. And I think this is where there's a problem. Let's run this and see what is happening. You see? It says error code 1048. Why? Error code 1048. And then what is this error message? Okay, I'm just probably looking for the column cannot be null or inserted into a stored. There's something. I think this is what is the problem. And because actually this query, actually what this query is doing, when we run this, it is going to be going for this grade report, in the triggers, delete one, the one with the delete. So what is going to be happening is that this query is going to be returning a value that I'm storing inside of this average. Now let's have a look at what is the kind of value that I'm having. So just for fun, let's just select the average of grade, and I'm not going to be putting it anywhere, just to show it on the screen where the old student was. Now the one that I was trying to delete was the one that was number 2, right? So let's just see. After I delete this and there's number 2, there's no number 2. Let's have number 3, for example. We don't have number 3, and see what this is going to give us as a result. Why am I choosing number 3? Because number 3 doesn't exist, and this is what is going to happen when I'm deleting the one for number 2. So this average now is becoming null. And then I'm trying to put null inside of this variable average, and then actually it keeps null, and then it tries to put this as null. However, when I go to this database and I go, let's have a look at this grade. I said, sorry, no, here, the student, the average, we said that it is not null, so it cannot accept null values. So this is why we have this error message. So now, how to deal with that is that we need to put some condition inside of the trigger to deal with it when it's null. So now, before doing this update, we need to do some checking. For example, we can put some if the average is equal to null, then set the average to be equal to 0, and then this might solve my problem. You agree? So if let's just try it, and then if it works, I'm going to have to do the same thing again in this after update. Where is this after update? Did I not save it? Oh, I did not save it. The after update is missing something. Okay, so I did not save all those changes. Okay, and this is for the delete. Actually, we said we should delete first, right? I'm going to do that actually. And actually, before that, I need to put this if the average is equal to null. I think I'm not sure if it's this or like is null. I think it's quite maybe both. And I think it's probably 0 is, but I need to put set. Let's just try to see if this is going to be the equal. Probably I'm thinking this is the is that should be there. Instead of equal, I think it should be, but maybe it might work for both cases. So now let's just forward engineer and close. Let's just go back now here. Let's just do the inserts again. So I'm going to be doing the inserts, and then I'm going to be trying to do this, and if there's no problem, I'm not going to be seeing any error message. If there's some problem, it's going to be an error message, and it didn't not seem to be any problem. There's no error message, and it worked. But still, it's still here. Why is it still there? I did it from grade where I didn't. Oh, there was 2. There's no what is 2. I need to do this upgrade first. Okay, now let's talk about if it's working or not. What do you think? Will it work? It did, alhamdulillah. And what about the average? Why is it like that now? So this deletion was okay, but this one was not okay. Why is that? Actually, what was not okay is this part of this calculation here. This is the one that was not okay, because we said actually we should start with the deletion and then the insert. Why is that? Because we calculated the average while before, I mean, we had that grades, but actually it shouldn't. Even the update, I mean the delete, the update, the delete. This probably didn't. This, when I deleted, it was changed to 0, so it worked. So what about this one? Maybe this is the one that did not work. I don't know. Since it worked with the equal sign, I'm going to keep it as equal sign. I'm just going to. Okay. Now let's summarize. Before I'm going to delete anything, so I'm going just to put something. What I'd like to do, maybe just display before the delete, and then after the delete. So I'm going to display them both before and after. So I'm going to see like 4 results, 2 before and 2 after. So these are like the ones that were before, the students. There is a problem. Maybe these are the ones. Which one comes first? Okay, hold on. I deleted the grade report. This mouse cursor is not really helping. So this shows actually that this one was deleted, but the student has 0, but the other one still has 80. Why do we still has this one have 80? So in order for us to understand that, okay, what we are going to be doing, just let's just insert this too. 1. So we don't care. We put 70 and then if we delete the second one, but of course this is not going to be changing anything for. I think this has something to do with the update. When we update, this is where we have this problem. Okay, this is just what I'm going to be doing. Create a new file so I can see just the selections. So I'm not going to be, every time I would like to see the content, I'm going to be doing it this way. And now for this one, let's just let's just start from scratch again so I can empty everything. But focus with me just to be able to know, to detect where the problem is. We know that there's a problem because if I update now, let's run everything. What I'm going to be having is that let's make sure now that normally what should happen is that I should have 70 here, and this is 90 because it's for the student number 1, but I'm going to change this one to be student number 2, so the student number 1 should have 70 as an average. Is it working? And that's what I'd like to see. Let's just run this. Okay. So the grade report said student number 1 is 70 and 90. Well, what about the student? Table students. There's a problem with the update. So our update doesn't work as expected. Why doesn't it work as expected? What is the problem? Well, this stopped from working since we started this with the if. It worked before. Okay, let's try it. First of all, let's just remove. Let's notice that this is the problem. So what we're going to be doing, repeating the same thing. First of all, save, and then repeating the same thing, and see if this is still having the problem, because now our update was creating this problem, and let's just run these and run these. Now you can see that these are okay. So the update has a problem because this if statement did prevent it from something from happening. So we wanted this.
After update.
Sorry,
After update.
what do you mean after update?
The order. Update then
Update then if statement? There's no update. But no, because this if statement normally is to prevent from trying to put a null value inside of this average.
you get all value as null, then put 0.
So okay, then how to get null value? How to test if this null value? With the is? Okay, if we put with the is null, then we set this average to be 0, and then we
Well, the declaration statement actually default the value as 0, so we don't have to.
well, yes, but still, when we run this into average, it's going to put null inside of the average, even if we previously put 0.
5,000.
So let's run now. So this, if we change it to is, just to make sure that this is the problem. So let's just try it again. And actually, this is the problem with the triggers. Trying to debug a trigger is not an easy task because you have to do a lot of different testing, and you cannot just watch the variables and see what's inside of them easily, unless you can do, for example, some of the things like you can select v average just to print it, but it's going to be printing it to you as the trigger runs. It's going to print something for you, so you're maybe going to see what is the result of that. That's your way to how to see what's inside of your variables, but it's not really convenient sometimes. So now let's just again, so we did this forward engineering. Let's just run this so we can see the tables are this one, that the other one is empty, and the other ones have 0, 0. Now let's run these inserts, and let's not run this update so we can see step by step. So now if I run it again, have these two inserted, and both of them are for student number 1. Now we're going to change this to student number 2, so this should be back to 70 and the other one 90. So let's just update that and see the results. We updated it, so this one shows 2, so this one is okay, and this one is not okay. So it's still, the is did not solve the problem. So in order for us to solve the problem, what should we do? So what should we do? Delete this one? But if we delete this one, we have a problem. Now when we delete the last grade for that student, we're not able to set it back to 0. Because why did we wanted to have this if statement? Because there was, for the last
Can you check?
instance, we would like to be able to put 0 back to there.
Can you put after select AVG
Maybe the problem.
all dot grade?
After select
Yeah.
all dot grade,
Maybe the problem
Doesn't
in
work?
if
AVG of all dot grade. It's no, because AVG is a function that is going to be calculating the average based on some column, not on some value. It's based on a column. Now if you put all dot grade, this is a value.
maybe
Yeah.
can you return the if statement? Maybe the problem ending the if.
Oh, that's a good point. Look here, we said if, but you don't put end if.
Comma, semicolon after
Yes.
zero.
And then we have an end if. That makes some sense. So now if we try, but before actually we need to correct it also here.
It does work here.
They did not show any problem.
It did not show any problem, but let's just try. Let's rule this out. Let's just again test it. Close. Let's go back, and no need to run this before and after. Let's just run this everything. And now let's run. Why is it empty like that? I inserted, did I? Okay. Now let's just run it again. Okay, now there are both of them there. And now it's working. So that was a weird problem that we noticed. Even if there was a syntax error, it was not mentioned by the database. And that syntax was just this very small end if that we forgot to put. Now it seems to be working, and we put just to is null. So it worked with is null, right? So now let's just make sure that it worked with equal null. I think it will work for both. Let's just delete something. So what would happen if I delete the number 2, the student number 2? If I delete student number 2, it should be back to 0. This line, if it is deleted, this should be back to 0, student number 2. So let's just see if it's going to be working. And still the same problem. So I did not delete that. Remember, we said that one of them is with equal and the other one is with null. Is, and we put this is it going to be? In order for us, we don't need to do everything. Let me show you something. I don't want to do the whole things. I don't want to create these, and okay, maybe don't drop the schema. Just maybe each object, and no need to insert. Or you know what? Just leave them. Leave them as they were. I'm just going to show you how. I don't need to delete everything. Just go back here, and then here I'm just going to be deleting all the. If the cursor is going to help me, but it doesn't seem to be willing. We would like to delete everything except this new, which one that we are just changing. This is the one, right? That's what we'd like to be doing. So delimiter. Now I'm just changing the trigger.
Yeah, but you already told it to drop the scheme.
No, I just removed that. You see the code, I just removed everything. I just kept only this code over here. And please, the mouse. I need to drop it before. Drop trigger, and this is its name. I need to put this because I changed the delimiter to that. Now it's all okay. You see, everything was okay. This was the previous message. The new message is done. Now I just updated this to include this is, right? Let's just try to delete again. Now it seems to be working, but let's make sure. Okay, this is gone, and that was back to 0. So we don't put equal sign with null. It's with the is. Well, time is up, but I wanted to show you something. Probably I'm going to be showing it to you how to as you have noticed, there's a lot of copy and pasting. Is there a way like to save this code somewhere and then just to call it? This is what we're going to be seeing, inshallah, with this what they call routines or procedures. Yeah, cough. That was a cough. All right. Any questions?